every day. I'm just hoping it will last. Take this blunt to my face. I'm just hoping I don't crash. I'm too high.
All right, so P&L here, and in today's video, I want to go over the heat map and how I use it, and I'm going to try to keep things as simple and as short as possible. So I do want to show how I would have played out continuation here for these loans. Okay, so in this video, one of the key confluences that will partake in this video is absorption. So the easiest way I could describe absorption is just buyers taking, absorbing sellers, taking a lead in the market, vice versa. Same for the sellers. If it was sellers, okay, sellers, they absorb the buyers and then they just lead the market. They gain control of the market. And then a really good example of absorption is right here. So as you can see, we took these orders out. And guess what happened? We have these decent bubble right here, but price wasn't pushing up. As you can see, these buyers were trapped here at this 520 level, and they just couldn't push up the market. And as you can see, they tried again, and they just couldn't. So as soon as the sellers got in, market just directly went their way. Simple as that. When buyers lose control, sellers gain control, vice versa. That's pretty much absorption. It's a pretty easy concept. I mean, you see everywhere. Here was the same for the sellers. This around 706.7. You can see here, sellers lost control. They could not push price lower, and then we took these orders out, and then that's when price went up. Now, to clarify things, what do I mean by these orders? And the way price moves, price likes to move towards those orders. And then apart from those, what also pops out is these bubbles that I have. In this case, my colors are different. Because for my sellers, I have white instead of red, and then for buys, I have blue instead of green. Now, so these are aggressive buyers and sellers. So these are not limit orders, these are market orders. These are people that are willing, to pretty much pay the price that we are at now. Now, moving on to the setup with those things in mind, remember absorption. When sellers absorb buyers and vice versa, buyers absorb sellers. You got passive sellers, limit orders, passive buyers. Remember that sellers will always be above, buyers will always be below. Keep that in mind. And then aggressive buyers, aggressive sellers. Just keep that in mind. Now, what do we see here? As you can see, after open here, this is around the 930. We just kept going down. We found fair value here. See, we just kind of consolidated until sellers gain control of the market, and then we kept going down. And then here we had this bounce off of these passive buyers absorbing these sellers here. And real quick, I want to take a second to explain what fair value is. So pretty much fair value is just an agreement between buyers and sellers. Now, what do we see here? I'm sorry, look at this 430 level. What do you see? We see these orders come in, disappear, and they enter back in. And as you can see, they've been attempting. All right. And as you can see, as price gets closer into it, so you can see we start printing more of these orders. Now, in this situation, you'll most likely want to, get a fill out of 420. This is also known as a liquidity sweep. So we take out a low, we take out this liquidity, and then we reverse. But in this case, this is where all happened. You could see how these orders start getting built around this 430 area. Now, what do you see? These orders get taken out. sellers aren't really driving the market anymore. So what does that tell us? That passive buyers absorb the aggressive sellers. And something that you could also point out is that we are near the bottom of your session volume profile. And then right here at this 430 level, as you can see, we had the most activity out of any other place here. But here now you're just looking for the next buyer to step in, and there's many ways you could have done that. You could have waited for price to trade into this for 36.5 437, and if you see that buyers show no sign of them getting absorbed, you could have taken your fill there. But in this case, if you want to put on slightly more risk, you could have entered with the first buyer. So you would have entered right here. Just make sure it's a decent sized bubble because you don't want to enter it on something like this. So let's just say that this right here is our entry right there. And then for stop loss, you could have set your stop loss below this right here, below these orders. Now this is on the tighter side when it comes to stop losses. But it's still, I mean, if we do end up breaking this, then the move would most likely just be invalid. That's why I personally run tight stops, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's one way that I could risk less, and then with considering the tools that I have, I could confirm like, okay, if we do break below this and then seller step in, like this long that's about to happen, will just got invalidated. The setup just got invalidated. So now here we just wait. And as you can see here, when we did tap into these, we took these orders out. So watch what happens when buyers step in here. So you can see this aggressive buyer bubble keeps increasing in size, and then price shows no signs of it wanting to slow down. And as you can see, we fully pushed through this. So you could confirm that this level, this is where buyers are not going to get absorbed. Now, so how would I go about setting my targets? Now, I would target value area. So in this case, value areas being where price got traded at the most. And I would also target highs. Okay, so the way that I could put this, if we trade into this area and we do not reject from this area, then here I will consider going break even. So it would look something like, all right, if we maintain above this high, and if we break and maintain above this high, then which is around the median of this, I will go break even. So I'll be risk free. Now, what do I target? So you can see here, we had all these orders sitting here that we didn't take out. So this would have been your first target. So you could have taken a partial there. Now, when it comes to setting another target, just look up and then you can see, okay, here, this high, we had decent rejection off of it. You could have targeted this high. And then, of course, if you look at the volume profile, session volume profile, you could have targeted market open. So you can see here, we had all this volume sitting here. So you could have targeted this right here, this 560, 570 ish level, which is right after market open, or you could have traded into these orders that didn't get filled from market open. which eventually disappeared, but these are really good still targets. If mainly if you know don't have as much experience and you don't want to overcomplicate things. So here I will draw horizontal line, and this is gonna be our target final TP. So now let's just watch this play out. All right, and as you can see, that is target number 1 and target number 2 that are hit right there. So as you can see, we took this out, and then we traded into here. Keep in mind these orders did remain here, so these orders did get filled, but again, we had too much buying pressure and it just kept going in the buyer's way. All right, now you see here at this high, you see how we had orders here, and that's where we had that initial rejection down towards where we got our entry. As you can see, at that same level, orders start building up again. Now, what could you expect in a situation like this? You could expect these sellers, these passive sellers, to absorb these aggressive buyers, or you could expect buying pressure being, strong enough that it could just push through. Or there's a chance, okay, that there's some rejection off of this. As you can see, we did have some rejection, but buyers kept trying to push price up. They kept getting deeper and deep. They kept getting deeper and deeper, and until they finally took all of them out, and then they were able to freely keep, going up. All right, and as you can see, that is target number 1 and target number 2 that are hit right there. So as you can see, we took this out, and then we traded into here. Keep in mind these orders did remain here, so these orders did get filled, but again, we had too much buying pressure and it just kept going in the buyer's way. And as you can see there, that is our final TP hit. Now, of course, you can hold beyond this point, but this was the full trade. So you would have entered here and gotten out here. Now, I do want to show how that would look like on a candle chart. All right. And at the end of it all, this is how my setup would have looked like. Now for targets, you could have targeted lower, you could have targeted higher, you could have run a bigger stop loss. I mean, there is, infinite ways to do this. But personally, me, the way I set it up here, I did really have a small stop loss because I didn't, need to run a bigger stop loss. Because I had all the confirmation I needed that, just sellers just didn't want to trade back into these. And then if by any chance they did, I would have possibly tried re-entry around here. So I'm just risking little. And if I get stopped out, then well, just look for re-entry, and that's about it. Now you could have ran your stop loss below the 4427, which it would have looked something like right there, 5 points. But this, I mean, it was enough. It was a 146-point move if you would have caught this. And that's just using our heat map and using our session volume profile. And outside of that, there's not really anything else for me to talk about. I wish y'all a good trading journey and P&L out.